Hey guys, welcome back. This is PureLunacy. Thank you for joining me last week and thank you for joining me this week. Big shout out to Malcolm. I appreciate the conversation and just the insight, just having a discourse on everything that's happening. So this week I did have different topics I wanted to cover, but of course, current events are always going to be interesting things to see and deal with, and I decided to, scrap what I had recorded earlier and just talk about what's happening right now. And what's happening right now is the fact that our Congress is just full of people who need to get it together. That's me being kind, right? Tomorrow, July 25th, a lot of protections under the CARES Act expire. And our U.S. Congress has not done a darn thing to help expand, extend, and assist in protecting citizens in this country. We're facing a pandemic. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We have shutdowns, whether partially or full shutdowns, depending on the state you live in. We have major occurrences with protests. And one of the things that was holding it all together were a lot of these protections that the CARES Act provided for people, whether it's protections to assist students who may be facing student loans, protections assisting tenants who may face evictions, protections that may protect landlords who may face foreclosure. It's all, connected. Everything's connected. And the reality is, as these shutdowns, partially or full shutdowns, continue to persist due to this pandemic, our Congress is twiddling their thumbs and not extending the protections that were enacted in March because they can't seem to agree on whatever mumbo jumbo they can't agree on. It's infuriating. It's infuriating. Y'all are getting the full Rona bun look, head bob here. But it's completely and utterly infuriating because the members of Congress are not facing job loss. The members of Congress are still getting paid their paychecks. The members of Congress are still maintaining their health benefits. But the citizens of the United States of America are facing extremely dire situations with things out of their control. There are people who have been furloughed, been laid off. They can't find work the way they would traditionally do so due to this pandemic. And Congress is over there screaming at each other on Capitol Hill steps, which is unacceptable. Why would an adult man do so to a woman, let alone a young woman? It's absurd to me. It's absurd to me that we have not extended protections to our citizens in the middle of a pandemic. Get it together. This is not a Republican problem. This is not a Democrat problem. This is a United States of America problem. We need to address not only this pandemic, but we also need to address protections that are going to ensure that our citizens aren't left out on the street homeless. I have no words other than get it together. It is unacceptable that we continue to allow people who are elected officials to behave in this manner. And we've seen this before. We've seen this with shutdowns before, right? And I'm very tempted to say that when things like this occur, we need to start holding our elected officials accountable, especially when the lack of protections for everyday citizens are not present. It's unacceptable. It's infuriating. And we need to start doing something about it. And if that means we need to drain the swamp, or if we need to clean house or whatever, the fact that we have people who have been in Congress longer than I've been alive is unacceptable. And I'm not that young. Let this beautiful face fool you. I'm kidding. I'm 32 years old, and there are people who have been in Congress longer than I've been alive, literally. And it's clear, that doing the same old thing isn't working. So it's time for a change. It's time for folks, please remember, you better vote in November. The elections are coming. And it's not just elections whenever the president is running for office, right? It's not only every 4 years, it's every single year there is an election. Y'all, stay informed, stay educated, and be a participating citizen, because what this pandemic is showing is whether you have interest in politics or not, politics will always have an interest in you. And that is something that I always tell my students as a professor. I always tell my students, you may not have an interest in politics, but it always has an interest in you. And people don't realize how impactful and how important that is until situations like now. Let me breathe. This is Pure Lunacy. I didn't expect to do a video this week. It has been one heck of a week. It's been busy. Work, with studying, but you know what? I had to say something. Because tomorrow, major protections for everyday citizens are going out the window because our Congress members, Republicans and Democrats, don't get their heads out of their booty holes, and they are busy bickering on little things and not focusing on the fact that we have people in their lives are at stake. This is Pure Lunacy. Thank you for joining me. Next week I'll have a wonderful guest, a wonderful old friend, and hopefully you won't have to see my wonderful, beautiful Corona bun in its full glory next week. Until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully we can all partake in our beautiful and wonderful democracy and start to make a difference by electing people who are efficient and recognize the importance of the efficacy of their work. This is Pure Lunacy, y'all. Bye.